Fam. It's been a heck of a Thanksgiving week. Let's try and dive into as many of the gory details as we can get to, bearing in mind that we could probably spend about 10 hours on this, and we're also, like many people, in kind of the holiday rush, so we'll only be able to get to so much. But if you've been following Curve lately, it's been kind of depressing if you care about price. From 60 cents over the past week, it's just bled slowly downwards each day. And just when you thought you might get a little bit of hope, yesterday, price all of a sudden collapses to near 40 cents. What's going on? Well, if you're familiar with Aave, Aave was the character behind the Mango hack. Aave asserted that this was actually just the smart contract functioning as intended. So even though there was a bug in the smart contract, he made the argument code is law, and therefore his treasure was his to keep and do what he wants with. He's taken his massive stash of cash and used it to try and increase his fortune. He tried things like shorting Tether, shorting GUSD, but to no success. However, then he looked to be attacking Curve. We say that he looked to be attacking Curve for a few reasons. One is that he made a comment on Twitter just before the attack saying that he was going after a protocol in which the founder had put up 9 figures up for liquidation, seemingly referencing this juicy stack that Curve founder Mitch has put up for very low price of liquidation. At the moment, it's like 36.5 cents would be the liquidation price. In fact, as the battle scraped on, it would get down as low as 25 cents as a liquidation price. So Mitch was keeping an eye on his bags and keeping them fairly out of reach. At any rate, he hopped into the Convex Discord and started trash talking. It was a bunch of entertaining back and forth. Recommend you scroll back through that Convex trading channel chat because it got very spicy. But as this was going on, people were looking at the numbers and saying, well, if you're running a short game, you don't have enough curve. In fact, there's not even that much curve available on chain. Aave's supply basically dried up, lending rates hit. You could get 100% for supply at peak and 300% for borrowing, which meant that Aave was spending about over 100K per day to keep his position open. So he couldn't keep this up for too long. And they're saying that, especially with Mitch's stack down to 25 cents, there's no way he was going to be able to push the price down that low. So what happened? Instead, it looks like it was not actually an attack on Curve, but an attack on Aave. He then whipsawed the price, knocking it from about 40 cents to quickly the other end liquidation price of above 70 cents, where the remainder of the curve on there was available for liquidation. So as the price shot back up, Aave ended up accumulating about 1 to 2.5 million worth of bad debt in Curve. This means that they basically are going to have to be market buying Curve at much higher prices than expected to have to pay off this debt. Now, they're going to be able to recover from it. It's not really that big of a deal for Aave. If the price had kept shooting up, it could have been a much more existential threat. But as it turns out, for Aave, they should be able to cover it just fine. And thankfully, we see yet again, CeFi is working not so well. DeFi is working great. So both Curve and Aave, 2 cornerstones of DeFi, did very, very well. We've warned in the past, though, that given how much like some of these blue chip projects have fallen in price, you're going to see a lot of these kind of side, smaller projects become susceptible to market manipulation like this. So it just sucks, but it is what it is. So if you notice like your favorite tokens, which you think have great fundamentals, are all of a sudden doing these really erratic shifts in prices, it might just be market manipulation. So be on the watch out for that and follow all the channels that cover your favorite tokens very closely. If you don't understand the mechanics of the Aave attack, by the way, it's worth reading up on, because if you want to be in the space, you should understand more about it. The other interesting thing that came out of this is the Curve USD documentation got released, and we weren't able to get into too much depth on it yesterday. But what's very interesting is a lot of people around crypto Twitter have been saying that it was released to pump the price at the bottom. And in fact, it got released like around this time after the price was already well into its pump. So we think this pump was more to do with market manipulation than any Curve USD fundamentals. But that being said, the price has been pretty good since then. So who knows what that is. Usually Curve launches into drop in token price. So who knows with these things. The Curve USD stablecoin we've talked a lot about in previous videos. So rather than go through the mechanics of it too much, we're just going to link some of these previous videos. We basically learned a lot of the speculation we had was correct. And we got to see the actual mechanics, including the white paper. So definitely recommend that you pop into here. It's in the Curve stablecoin doc folder, which within that has the PDF containing the Curve stablecoin and all of its glorious details. Some of it you can probably gloss over. It includes things like complicated mathematical proofs. That's not so important. But just knowing the overall design of it, fairly easy to understand, all things considered. Basically, you deposit into the LLAMMA, which is responsible for serving as an AMM. The AMM connects with the actual stablecoin controller, connects to the monetary policy, which is responsible for overall keeping the stablecoin pegged. So as mentioned previously, the controller is going to continuously liquidate and deliquidate you through this AMM, and this AMM is itself externally tradable. So the initial pair looks as if it's going to be ETH, and you can use ETH to mint crv.USD. From within this, you can trade through this llama, curve, USD, and ETH together. So if new stablecoin pools do get launched against other collateral, then each of them becomes, in fact, a trading pair, making crv.USD potentially a highly fungible token. So super interesting stuff. Feel free to drop comments. Around, we're addicted to the internet, so we'll be checking messages even despite the Thanksgiving break. But spend Thanksgiving, and when your family asks, why is crypto down so bad, I would use it as an opportunity to tell them that Sam Bankman-Fried is a criminal, and they've probably only been reading New York Times style puff pieces on him, which themselves, if themselves feel like they should be a crime. So try and correct the record. They don't read crypto Twitter and tell them that what Sam Bankman-Fried did was actually criminal level fraud, and explain why he should go to prison for it. So that's our take. Stay safe, friends, and we will catch up with you after Thanksgiving.